live. All right. 1, 2, 3. Welcome back to ASI's 2017 SecurityGuideTV.com here in Dallas, Texas, live from the As Is Hub. My next guest, two hats for Mr. Kevin Doss, the ASISonline.org, because you're part of the council and you're part of the group, but also Level4Security.com, because you've written a book about this kind of stuff, and we want to talk about what you guys do. So take it away.
Okay. Well, Level 4 Security, what we do.
We mic a little closer up there. Yeah.
We are general consultants. We work with corporations, energy companies, and even government agencies. We help them develop policies and procedures. We work on active shooter type training. We work with workplace violence and other types of violence that employees or clients will face as they travel across the globe. And on top of that, we do assessments. So we'll come in and do security assessments all the way up to risk and vulnerability assessments.
Now, are you on one of the ASIS councils over here?
I am on the Physical Security Council, yes.
Okay, now, I'm glad you said the word physical security, because we have to say physical security now, because cyber guys have taken it over. They own the word.
Absolutely.
Right? Are you finding that if you just say security, people just jump to assuming you're a cyber guy?
Absolutely, and that happens quite often.
Does it? Okay.
And when you say you work in physical security, people are like, what does that mean? Are you a guard services provider?
Oh, interesting. It's actually narrowed the definition, hasn't it?
Absolutely has. And so what I do is I tend to spend a lot of time explaining that physical security has already converged. I mean, it has done this years ago with the IT sector.
Right.
A lot of our technologies and countermeasures are placed upon networks, so we have to work with IT very closely. However, we are still the experts when it comes to physical security, and IT knows that. We've tried to cross-train, and we can do it with certain individuals, but it's not commonplace in the industry yet.
Yeah, it should be, and I think the issue is, and this is to all my IT brothers, because I go to Black Hat every year, do all that stuff too. I'm kind of a hybrid between both worlds. I get it, right? Cops, physical security people, those sort of individuals, they know people. They know the people part.
Yep.
And the coders know the code, and they know the computer. And they're not necessarily the people out in the field, right?
Absolutely.
So you really can't cross-train those disciplines that easily as people think, right? But you can work together, and I think that's really important. Are you finding, although we're not training each other in our skill sets, are people working together in cyber and physical better?
Absolutely, and that's where I spend a lot of my time, even as a consultant. Our firm will spend a lot of time working with the IT folks to develop solutions that work for both physical security and the IT network side of things. So that partnership is critical. It's like anything else. I've worked in the industry 27 years. I learn every day. It's not something you can pick up within a year or two.
Right.
And it's the same from IT profession as well. That when you're looking and considering a career in IT, it takes more than a year to become proficient as an expert.
Now, what is the pushback from the IT guys if you come into? I've done this too. I walk into a company, I'm the consultant, I get paid to tell them what I know, and they think I know nothing. That's the basic rule. All right. But what is the initial pushback when you meet an IT guy that say, hey, listen, I'm doing this physical security survey, but I got to get some feedback on you about your role in that. Are people reluctant to talk? They say it's another department. How does that work?
I've just had this happen to me this past week.
Okay.
So I went in to do an assessment, a vulnerability assessment, and I will always do a basic assessment of cybersecurity, policies and procedures, and protection measures in place. The IT spokesperson was not invited to the meeting, therefore did not provide their input, and when the report came out, of course, they were deficient in many areas, which caused them to pick up the phone and say, wait a minute, we think we're better than that. Let's redo the survey. Now we'll attend, and we'll give you our input.
Oh, now that's interesting. Was it their choice not to attend? They didn't want to attend?
It was their choice, yes.
Oh, now that's really interesting. That does happen, though.
It does.
And that's politically touchy for a consultant.
It is, because on the IT side, they bring in their own consultants, and they will assess their own networks and policies and procedures. So it kind of goes hand in hand, but what I find is that if we can bridge that gap between traditional security and the IT side of things, and we're not stepping on their toes, we're just getting involved asking the basic questions. Do you have policies? Do you have social networking policies? Are you protecting your networks properly using security countermeasures, things that they should already be doing, but maybe the departments don't talk.
I know we have to use the word physical security, but it marginalizes to me what we do in one way, right? Because it's physical and security. Well, you know what? First of all, everything's physical. Even a cyber guy sitting in a keyboard typing something. And if you can stop him physically from getting to the data center, that's physical security.
Correct.
But his actions become cyber and translated when he actually sends out an attack, right?
Absolutely.
But for the physical security people, you could also say, look, we're on the internet. Everything we do is an appliance. My access control system for physical security, it's on the internet.
Absolutely.
My PDAs, PDAs, look it up. I'm dating myself in my gray hair. My smartphones, they're on the internet. So all the things my guards are using are the Internet of Things, right? So it is a challenge to get this point across people that this is nothing new. Physical security is not new, by the way, but to rename it so we can identify it. Do you think it takes away from our perceived competencies? Does that make any sense? Physical security. Wow, we want cybersecurity. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I do think it takes away, if we're not talking the lingo, if we're not polished in our presentation methodologies when we're trying to tie in with the IT professionals,
right.
They're going to have that assumption that this is just someone who's either worked in law enforcement or the military,
right.
really doesn't truly understand technology or how it works together in an integrated platform to protect assets.
But what they don't understand, that we do, is as former law enforcement people especially, we understand people.
Yes.
And we know that the actions you're looking at on that paper for that code translates into bad people and bad behavior. Here's what, and most IT guys, they don't know that.
Absolutely.
That's what I find, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're absolutely true. And that's where, when we say working together really matters, that's where a team comes in. You know, it's one of the things I see as a consultant. Many times we don't have team players. We have individuals trying to, promote their own budgets.
That's right.
And so when we can come together, or an organization can come together as a team, that's when you have true success when it comes to security. That we all work together, we all bring our expertise, we combine it for the mission of the organization.
Right.
And that's when we win.
That's the key. Kevin Doss, ASIS Online. Now, you wrote a book, right?
I did write a book.
Tell me what the title is.
It's called Active Shooter, Preparing for and Responding to a Growing Threat.
One of my favorite topics. I love it. Are you finding, let's go a little longer. Are you finding that people are now saying, you know what, I'm going to do that active shooter training, whereas before they said, oh, it's not going to happen here. Where are we on that scale?
I would say we're about at 50% on that scale.
Well, it's better than 5 years ago when nobody did it, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
So yeah, it's growing. But you still have that battle between talking about firearms or talking about violence. Sometimes you'll get pushback from human resources or pushback from other departments saying that's too sensitive of a subject. We don't want to scare our employees.
Aren't employees more scared of a guy with a gun?
I would say so.
It's crazy crap. It's just, their eyes be insane. And one thing they do say is, oh, well, what if we give that training, somebody gets hurt, we have liability? I think under OSHA, if you don't have a policy and a program, some training, and somebody gets hurt, now you're really in trouble. And by the way, under OSHA, you could be arrested.
Absolutely.
See?
And you're absolutely right. And so I get that I guess argument a lot, that if we do this and it's wrong, we're going to have liability. But the reality is, if you don't do it, there's increased liability, because they'll be looking at negligence at that point, which would increase the liability for the organization. It is a foreseeable threat.
In this day and age, every day something happens.
Absolutely, yeah. And that was one of the reasons we wrote the book. So I co-authored my book with Dave Shepard. Him and I, we both taught active shooter together for Homeland Security. We did part of their workshops. That's how we met. And one of the things we really promote in the book is preparedness matters. This is an event that is very violent. It happens very rapidly.
Right.
Usually it's been planned. A lot of people forget that. They think
that's right. It's not some random nut job that goes and gets a gun. There's a lot of planning in all these. That's right.
Absolutely.
So therefore, if there's planning, there are points to intervene.
Absolutely.
It's possible, yeah.
You're exactly correct.
Kevin Doss, level4security.com is your website.
Yes, sir.
And part of the ASIS General Counsel here at ASIS International. I keep forgetting where I am. And to Dallas, Texas, booth 1613. Stop by and see Kevin, smart guy. We'll be back in a minute here on SecurityGuideTV.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.